You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. I love that quote by James Clear, and I think it applies perfectly to classroom management and to setting up your classroom routines and procedures, all of that. Because if you do not have strong routines and procedures in place, you don't have that system in place where everything is going to fall back onto when things go wrong, then you're never going to meet your goals. That quote doesn't mean that you are not going to reach your goals if you have bad systems in place. It just means that when you are trying or working hard to achieve your goals, you need those systems that you can fall back on so that you can reach your goals. So what does that mean when we talk about classroom application? But that's the most important part, right? If we don't have systems in place, we don't have routines and procedures, it's going to be hard to meet our goals. And what are our goals when we think about teaching and when we think about like running our classrooms efficiently? For me, like one of my big goals is that like I don't have to put out behavior fires all day, that I can actually do the job that I want to do, which is teach, instead of having to constantly put little behaviors out. So if you're feeling the same way and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't really know, I don't know how to set up those systems, I don't know what that like level of success looks like, you're in the right place. Let's go through it. First things first, what is going to be the foundation of your system? What is going to be the system that everything falls back onto when things are going crazy and kids don't know what to do and you need to reset and you need to make sure that everybody is on the same page? What does that system look like? What are you expected to be doing during that time so that you know that your students know what the expectation is? For me, that looks like routines and procedures. I explicitly teach my students how to do literally every single thing I want them to do in my classroom so that later on, if we have to fall back on our system is routines and procedures. You set up routines and procedures at the beginning of the school year. The first thing that you're going to do is think about every single procedure that you want to teach. For me, that starts at as soon as students walk in the door. You teach them how to walk in the door. What are they doing with their materials? What are they doing once they sit down, right? So if you're a brand new baby teacher and have never done this before, you're going to start by thinking about what are the things I need to teach them how to do. And a good like rule of thumb is assume that your students know nothing. Even if your students know how to line up because they're in 6th grade, even if your students know how to ask to go to the bathroom, it might be different than the teacher that they had the year prior. And I clarify that with my students, like, hey, y'all are in 5th grade, y'all are in 4th grade, you already know how to ask to go to the bathroom, you already know what that looks like, but this is how I want it done. This is how I expect for it to be done. So once you have a list of all of your procedures ironed out, you're like, okay, these are the ones that I'm gonna teach. You're gonna sit down and script them out. So you're gonna ask yourself, okay, what does it look like when students come into my classroom? What do I exactly want them to do? Do I want them to run in? Do I want them to be talking? Do I want them to be able to like have a little bit of a lax come in? Like it's okay for them to be talking as long as they get like right on task. Like what exactly does that look like? You need to define exactly what it looks like, sounds like, and exactly what their job is. And then I like to also clarify what my job is so students understand that my job isn't correcting their behavior. My job is doing my job so that they can do their job. You have all of the routines and procedures figured out. You have them all scripted. You're going to